Hello and welcome back to the Metamystic Show. Today we are talking about the Nine of Pentacles and how to be fully happy on your own. Now this episode, it's kind of nuanced because how to be fully happy on your own doesn't necessarily mean you are single. See, many of us have come from unhealthy dynamics, whether that's codependency, whether that is, playing the hero. A lot of us have been in situations where we have either taken on these different roles that we take on, right? When really the point of life is to fully master ourselves, to become a master. This to me is a card of being a master, male, female, non-binary, however you identify. It shows up as a woman. Really, it's actually also showing up as an animal here, which is interesting with this hawk. And we'll get to this hawk because this can kind of have like a shapeshifter energy to it in a sense, because she is connected to nature. She's standing outside. This is her vineyard. This is her land. She's connected to this hawk. She's connected to the little snail down here. She understands. It's like she's very connected to her guides as well. And it's a hard energy to describe. It's like she knows how to work with nature. She knows how to cause things to grow, like these grapes in the background. She's a master. The Eight of Pentacles, which is the card right before this, is a card of mastering something, becoming a master in something. I would argue that this card showcases that mastery. It's almost as if these grapes, this vineyard that she has behind her, is a representation of what the Eight of Pentacles is trying to become, in a sense. This is like a fully working vineyard. She has people that work for her. This is her house back here. She has a lot of money. She has nice clothes, right? And it doesn't mean that you have a lot of money and nice clothes right now. But this is the potential for all of us, is this energy. Actually, the potential for all of us is really the Empress, which is one step beyond this. There's room to grow even in this card. This card seems, to me, I don't know about y'all, but this kind of seems like I got everything I need in this card. I got my land, I got my house, I have my craft, I have my guides, I have my understanding of life on what to give and what to take, All right, so let's get into it. But my point is that even with this, there's always more. That's the universe. There's so much abundance that even when it's the best that it can be, it can still get better. And that's the mindset that this Nine of Pentacles has, is that that's how she got here, is that mindset that there's always more than enough. And it's an abundance mindset, and that's what got her here, is my point, right? So, how to be fully happy on your own. Number one, get your own thing. Her thing are these grapes. You could say that, my thing is these cards, right? I read cards. I have this channel. This is like what I work on. What do you work on? Because even if you're with a partner right now, depending on how healthy the relationship is, and I'm not going to comment on that, that's for you to consider, right? Do you have your own thing? I keep feeling like my lipstick is messed up. It's like maybe you feel like you're always having to fix something. You're always having to fix your lipstick. You're always having to go over here, go over there, go over here, go over there. And we're going to get to time management later on in this episode, but let me start here. Get your own thing, even if you're in a relationship, because with or without a person, this is my opinion, of course. I believe we are here to become masters of ourselves. So this stance that she is in, this is a fully healthy stance of a human being. You know how you see those yoga guys or girls, however they identify, it doesn't matter. It's like you see those people that, I was just watching this episode the other day. It was this episode from the Gaia Network talking about the yogic path. And they were explaining all the different types of yoga, and that the yogic path is not just about yoga poses, like physical yoga. It's about the spiritual part of yoga. The man was explaining that if we only do the physical yoga, then our spirit, our minds, everything that goes on the inside will be out of whack. So we need to do both. We need to have spiritual and physical. And this card is actually, it's not a card of balance. It's a card of knowing how to divvy out your energy. And we'll get more into that later. Get your own thing is number one. Like, even if you are with somebody right now, just pretend that you're alone, because I'm trying to say this in a way that doesn't sound like I'm proclaiming that people should be single, because I don't. I feel like one of the most beautiful parts of life is relationships, right? Is partnerships, is union, is family, right? She's not lonely at all. But sometimes we have to unravel this stuff. Like, if we're used to being in unhealthy, unbalanced dynamics, this is going to feel weird at first. These grapes, this is her life. Like, this is what takes up a lot of her day, or whatever it is for you. You know, you probably have a job, or you're somebody who's living a crazy life like me and has their own business. You know, it's that thing that you have, that's something that's solely yours. Like, it's something that you do on your own, and most likely it brings in finances for you. It gives you joy. It's ideally, right? And if we don't feel that way about our jobs, it can change. That's this Nine of Pentacles mindset. If you don't like what your thing is, we can change it. Or, you know, we can do something totally different. And if we need help, that's where the guides come in, and we'll get to that. But finally, on this point, I just want to say she enjoys her work. She enjoys the life that she has, and you can have that. That is available to all of us. Each and every one of us can like our jobs. We can like our day-to-day lives. We can like what we do from day to day. As simple as that. Very, very practical. How to be fully happy on your own. Step 2. Be your own person. Be independent. Even if you're with somebody. We can change relationship dynamics even when we are in a relationship. And depending on how the other person reacts to that, well, we'll see what happens there, right? Like, if you start healing, if you start becoming more independent, if you start doing your own thing and your partner doesn't like that, well, first of all, have a conversation, right? I feel like the worst thing we can do is just like leave our partners because one thing goes wrong. We are too quick to do that in this swipe right, swipe left culture where there's no loyalty, there's no honor, there's no patience, there's no working together with people. We are imperfect as people, right? Everybody sucks from time to time. So if we can fix a situation and work together and be honest and communicate with our partners and say, hey, I'm working on myself. I'm trying to be more independent. Like, I'd like to just, start a class on Wednesday nights and start going to this pottery class that I've wanted to go to. And if you're husband or wife or girlfriend, boyfriend, however they identify, partner, whoever this person is, even roommate or family member, if they don't like that and if they actually don't allow for that, if they don't allow for your independence, then we have a problem. Then we have to start looking at, is this an unhealthy dynamic, right? And that's why a lot of readers talk about the Nine of Pentacles as a card of being single. But you don't have to be. Because in a healthy relationship dynamic with a partner, with family, with friends, whoever, right? We should be able to maintain the person that we are without having to change. And again, we are not perfect. So sometimes the best thing we can do is come into relationships with people because it brings up our blind spots. It's like a mirror to us in the places that maybe we couldn't see that we were selfish in certain areas. Maybe we couldn't see like, oh, I'm kind of like messy. I leave my dishes in the sink for 3 days and my partner maybe they're a Virgo like me and they're like, oh, I don't want to leave that overnight in the sink. And maybe until you had that partner, you didn't really see an issue with that. You're just like, whatever. And it's just, my point is if you're in a relationship with somebody and it brings stuff up in you, that doesn't mean that they're a narcissist or that you should break up with them. But when it becomes a problem is if they literally are not letting you be healthy. Like, they're not letting you be independent. They're saying, like, how could you go out without me? Or, like, how dare you have a pottery class without me? Or, like, say you want to go out and get some boba by yourself, and go get your nails done. Or go out with your guy friends, whatever. And if it's too much for the other person, if your independence is not able to be maintained in a relationship that you're in, now that's when we have to reassess. Because with or without a person, this Nine of Pentacles, this is the standard. This is what it means to be a healthy person that has mastered their lives, that has a healthy sense of confidence, that is independent, not overly independent, where I don't need anybody, I don't need anything from anybody, because we all know that that's actually an imbalance, right? It's not that we don't need anything from anybody, it's that we're not dependent on people for us to be okay, or for everybody to pay our bills, or whatever, right? We don't want to go too far the other way either, where it's like, oh, I don't need anybody, I don't need anything, because that's a lie as well. That's just as much of a lie over here saying you don't need anything as it is over here to say I need everything and I'm not okay without you. Right? So anyways, all right. That's for another day. But number 2 is to be your own person. Be independent. Have some hobbies that are different than your person or different than your friend group. Like, we're all different. Even if, like, say we're going, you and me and a bunch of our friends are all going to like a tarot convention or something. Even if we all are into tarot, we still all have different interests. We still like different foods. We still have different tastes in music, right? So if we are losing our independence in a situation, that's when we know it's unhealthy. Like, if we're becoming a different person and losing our independence with a partner or a friend group or a job, if we're starting to just become like everybody else and we're losing what makes us us, that's when it becomes a problem. So step 2 to being happy fully on your own is just to try that out, to do some stuff by yourself too. And you don't even have to go anywhere. It can be like, hey, I'm going to spend like the next 2.5 hours just vibing, listening to music that I like, maybe doing some artwork, eating a peach. Like I just stood in the kitchen last night and I just stood over the sink and just like ate this peach, and it was so juicy and like the juice was running down. I almost said running down my beard. That's weird. I don't know. I don't have a beard, I don't think, but it was running down my beard. And I was just standing there in this moment eating this peach, just totally freaking happy, dude. Right? So whatever. This could be anything, right? So step 2 is creating a sense of independence. And we don't have to create anything. It's just being independent is just liking the stuff that you like, being the person you are naturally, right? You don't have to really do anything. But sometimes when we're in these abusive relationships, codependent dynamics, sometimes we feel, it's not true that we actually lose ourselves, but we can feel a sense of losing ourselves, or we can feel like we changed for another person to avoid arguments, or we can feel like, hey, I used to play tennis and now I don't anymore, or whatever. We never lose ourselves, but if we are getting out of a toxic situation, or if we're in one currently still, we can start to cultivate our independence back again. It's always going to be there, but we just have to get in tune with it again. It's like we have to come back into alignment again, align the chakras, remember who we are, and come back to ourselves, right? Step 3 to how to be fully happy on your own is to manage yourself wisely. See how she has these 6 pentacles on one side and she has the 3 pentacles on the other side. Now, you would think that to be a balanced person in life, it would be 50-50, Say you have 9 pentacles. It's like, okay, do a little quick math. That's 4.5 over here and 4.5 over here. Wrong. It's actually 6 and 3. She keeps more pentacles for herself. And if we are coming from codependent dynamics, for example, and a lot of us have, because a lot of us are empaths, and empaths always get into trouble, right? Because we care about people that don't care about themselves. So what happens is actually we end up switching these, where we give 6 away and we only keep 3. Or even worse, we give away like 7, 8, 9 on a bad day. We give it all and then we bleed ourselves dry, lying on the ground like a Trisha Paytas kitchen cry moment. Anybody? Anyone? Hello? Hi. My name is Missy Gordon. I've had many of those because I was imbalanced. That's why. Don't be hard on yourself. It's not like and if you need, counseling, therapy, I recommend all of that. But I'm saying for the most part, it's not like, oh, I'm so crazy and I have all these issues and I have all these problems. Maybe we should look at our dynamics first. Instead of always blaming ourselves like empaths do, like, what's wrong with me? What's my problem? Why can't I just get it together? Maybe it's because you're switching these. And that's what point 3 is all about. It's about managing ourselves wisely. And that means our time, our money, our energy. We only have so much energy in a day. If we're giving it all to our partners, if we're giving it all to our jobs and we're a workaholic and we never have a moment for ourselves, hello, hi, I'm a grand earth trine. I collected them all. I have all the earth in my chart that you'd ever need. So I am a workaholic, so I understand that. And I've actually had to look at this recently where I'm like, am I literally not taking any time for myself? So the other night in the shower, I lit a candle. I do this sometimes. I lit a candle, I turn off all the lights, and I take a shower, and I just come back to myself. It can be as simple as that. That can help. Little things like that can help balance the scale back. Like, we can start to take our pentacles back. If we have 6 pentacles over here and 3 over here, let's start by taking 1 pentacle back. So we can now have 4 on this side instead of 3. And it could be as simple as doing a little something nice for yourself, you know, taking a little time, reading that book you've been putting off, you know, going on a nice relaxing walk instead of having to do like this crazy cardio because you feel like you have to lose weight. Maybe you can just be like going on a nice quiet walk that actually you have time to think and commune with your guides and get back into your spirituality again. That sometimes can be taking back like all the pentacles we ever need. And we're going to get to that in step 4 with communing with our guides with this falcon energy here. But let me sit on this for just a little while longer. To manage ourselves wisely. And it is a skill that has to be learned. And it's something that actually feels like it's very hard to get used to if we are overgivers. Right? If we're used to, if our natural state is that we are an overgiver, this 9 of Pentacles stance with the 6 over here and the 3 over here, this is going to feel like we're all out of balance at first. It's going to feel like I'm being selfish. I'm not giving enough. I'm not doing enough. I'm going to lose everybody, or my partner's going to lose interest in me because I'm not like doing all this stuff for them anymore, whatever. When in reality, if you start losing people when you balance out properly, when you start to manage your energy properly, I know it's tough, but we had an episode on the 8 of Cups. It's time to say goodbye, if that's the case, because and half the time, it's not just going to be that they'll fall away. If this is an unhealthy dynamic, if you start to try to take some of your pentacles back from a person or a job or a situation, and they start to cause drama because of that and start to say, you used to do this and you used to do that, and now you're not, basically. They might not even say it like that. They might just start fights and then not admit that the reason they're starting fights is because they're used to your energy. So part of being this 9 of Pentacles is, unfortunately, this is a process of this balancing that we have to do and becoming more independent and becoming unenmeshed from people. And if we're used to codependent dynamics, understanding that this is actually the standard, this is the spiritual standard. That, hey, maybe I'm actually wrong and this isn't normal. Like all this drama that I'm used to where I give away all my energy, wait, maybe that's actually valuable and I shouldn't just give it all away by all these fights. Because if you're with an unhealthy person, they just want your energy and they don't even consciously understand this a lot of the time. So if you try to explain this to them, they'll be like, what are you talking about? I have no idea what you're talking about. Because they don't know what you're talking about, because it's a spiritual thing. Whether you get in a fight with this person or whether you just nicely give it all away, they're still getting energy regardless. So if you start to see people starting fights with you, bosses that get angry, you know, when you said, I can't work Saturdays, and it's in the contract that I can't work Saturdays, but they continue to ask you to work Saturday, and you finally gave in, and then you have this spiritual awakening where you're like, hey, I can't do this anymore. It's draining my life force. I cannot keep up with this job anymore. So you go in, you talk to your boss, and you say, now I don't want to have to quit so before I did quit, I wanted to have a quick conversation with you and say, I really can't work Saturdays. It's what we agreed on. And I know I went back on my word, and I know that I said I could work Saturdays now, but that's just because I was like scared to lose this job. And I do love this job, but I can't do this anymore. So before just quitting, because I'm on my last leg here, before just quitting and doing something rash, I wanted to have a conversation with you and say, I'd love to still be part of this company, but I can't do Saturdays. Now, if they say we can't do that, then you can quit. Or if this is a partner, same thing. Have a conversation. If they don't allow for you to make your own decisions and choices, which is part of step 3, is making your own decisions and choices. It's managing your own stuff. This is your money. This is your time. This is your energy. And even if somebody tries to convince you and gaslight you out of that reality, this is yours and it's rightfully yours, right? So if you've had 1 conversation, 2 conversations, 3 conversations, and it's not being allowed in some way, even if there's all these reasons as to why, and it makes logical sense to them, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? 9 of Pentacles is confident enough in herself to say, I don't care. I can get another job. I can get another partner. I can get another apartment. If you have some crazy landlord, which I did before, he literally watched our every move. Like, there were cameras everywhere. And he would like call and text like late hours and like it was just creepy and weird. Okay, so whatever situation this is, it's about managing your own self, and it's up to you. Nobody else can do that for you. I feel like the trap that we sometimes fall into as empaths and spiritual people and people who care, you know, Queen of Cups types of people, King of Cups types, is we assume that everyone is like us, and we think, well, surely they wouldn't just be selfish and just take me for all I have and then ask for more even when I say I'm exhausted and I can't give more, and then they still gaslight me out of that reality and ask for more anyways. Surely somebody would never do that because I would never do that. Wrong. Very hard lesson of the 9 of Pentacles, specifically step 3 when it comes to managing your own energy. Now, you don't want to go too far the other way where she keeps all 9 for herself, right? Meaning, it's not even about being selfish. Forget morals for a second. It's just it's about investment, right? If you're only keeping it all for yourself, it's kind of like these are 9 seeds. And if she just keeps the seeds in the cabinet and does nothing with them, she's not going to have more coming in. So when she gives these 3 pentacles out, it's actually an investment. Even if it's an investment of time, like I'm going to put my time into learning a new skill or give my energy to this person. Like I'm going to go on a date with this person and give this energy into the situation, right? If it's a healthy situation, what will happen is you will reap more energy back in. That's the test. Does the energy come back to me in another form when I give it, or does it not? That is the test if we continue to give to that thing. Right? It's as simple as like, okay, I'm going to learn how to play clarinet. And then if you realize I don't like this, then stop doing it. If you go on a date, it reminds me of Squidward with the clarinet from SpongeBob. If you go on a date with a person and you've talked about how you love roses multiple times before you went on the date, you literally have a rose tattoo. And then they're like, hey, I brought you your favorite flower. I brought you petunias. It's like, what? And I know that sounds dumb and it's just an example, but I'm a Virgo, so I pick up the details. It's like if you mentioned literally 5 times that you like a certain flower, literally having a tattoo of it on your arm, and this person brings you a different flower because it's the flower that their ex liked, maybe they're still stuck on their ex. Maybe you shouldn't, just an example, guys, I'm just making it up. Maybe you shouldn't invest any more pentacles in this person. Maybe you should try to, swipe on somebody else. You know what I'm saying here? All right. You know what I'm saying. Managing yourself wisely. And it's a skill that has to be learned, and it's also kind of an uncomfortable process if we're used to being taken from. This is not going to feel right at first with the 6 on one side and the 3 on the other side. So this is something that has to be practiced and honed. Like, I have to remind myself. I have to purposely say no as well. Like, I will make a point throughout my day to check in with myself. How do I feel before I say yes to this? Should I say yes to this? Because it's kind of like having a high pain tolerance. Like, for me, I can give literally 9 pentacles away and I'll still be able to survive. I'm sure you relate to that if you relate to that. So for me, even now, even after all these years of working on this energy, working on balancing this energy, sometimes I have to still check in with myself and purposely say no to certain things, even if I feel like I can do it, simply because I know that it's going to balance out my energy like over the week. Like, for example, like if I do too much on a Monday, it might feel like, oh, all that energy will just come back to me and I'll be fine the next day. But maybe by Thursday, the choices I made on Monday might have drained me so much that I run out of steam by Thursday. And then Friday, I'm screwed and I can't get stuff done. So it's kind of like if you're reading sheet music, it's like you need to look a few notes ahead to see which note is coming up while you're playing on the piano. It's like this time management, this energy management, money management, whatever it is, we have to actually learn how to think ahead and plan for ourselves. And, oh, maybe I shouldn't overextend because I have stuff to do later in the week. Or maybe I shouldn't give all I have up front to this person on the 4th date because then they're going to get used to me doing that. And if they like it and that seems normal to them, then that's a red flag. That might mean, hey, red flag. I'm getting into a codependent, narcissistic dynamic again. Maybe this person's normal is sucking 6 pentacles out of me instead of 3. You know what I mean? So anyways, all right. That's enough on that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need to learn how to manage our own energy. Like, this is ours. Nobody can take it from us. And I feel like sometimes what I was going to say at the start of this before was the King of Cups, Queen of Cups. Sometimes we can think, oh, well, like, how do I say this? We think we don't have to manage our energy because we think that everybody else will do the right thing, but they won't. You know what I mean? Like, we will think, oh, well, they won't take that much because I wouldn't do that. But a lot of the time they will. So we have to get in charge of this. Nobody can do it for us, and nobody is going to do, like, mirror back to you what you want it to be necessarily until you get healthy. And then maybe they'll mirror back a healthy nature. But if we're working on this and we're getting around all these people that are not mirroring us, 9 of Pentacles, because maybe we're still working on our stuff, then all the more we need to manage this energy and get used to it and continue to remind ourselves throughout the day, like, I need to say no to some things and yes to some things, right? Okay, anyways. Whew, all right. It's a hard topic sometimes. It's an emotional topic. Like, I feel myself tearing up talking about it because it's a challenging topic, because I feel like sometimes we can actually even be scared to say no. Like, we can feel scared to balance ourselves out because what is that going to mean? Our boss is going to get mad at us. Our partner is going to start an argument. It's easier for things just to be at peace. No, it's not. Not in the long run. No. It's better to break up. It's better to quit the job. It's better It's because this is the point of life, is the Nine of Pentacles. And if we can't have the Nine of Pentacles in that relationship or in that job or in that situation, then it's not the one for us. And again, we can bring this up. We can work through it with another person or a situation. If it can't change, then we need to be the ones to leave. Because sometimes a toxic person will stay attached to us. How do I say this? Like they'll convince you, oh, I've changed and I'll do what you want, and then you'll get pulled back in again. You'll get stuck again. You'll be working Saturdays again. You'll be giving all your energy again, and then you'll get into the lull again and forget everything you were starting with. But then, and this is step 4, the guides will come in to help you and be like, hey, remember we were on the Nine of Pentacles trail. We're working on becoming Nine of Pentacles. Don't get sidetracked. Don't forget. Don't relapse. Don't go back to that person that takes and only takes. Don't stay at that job that doesn't pay you enough when you could get another one and take the risk to get another one that will pay you more and respect you more. You know what I mean? It's okay to care about you. It's not cocky and it's not conceited. And if there are people around you telling you that, go back to the other steps and reassess the people we're around. How much are they taking? Are they taking 6, 7, 8, 9 pentacles from you? And then saying you're selfish for taking one back? Because ask the question, who's telling me I'm selfish? Who's telling me that? And what's their behavior? And how many pentacles of mine are they taking? If they're taking a normal amount and they're calling you selfish, then maybe we should put the mirror on ourselves. Because we can go on both sides of the spectrum, right? But probably if you're watching this episode, you're probably more on the other side. You know what I mean? Okay. It's okay to take a minute for yourself. It's okay to think things through. Don't feel guilty for questioning, am I in the wrong relationship? Am I in the wrong job? Am I in the wrong location? That's part of the Nine of Pentacles. How to be fully happy on your own. Step 4. Prepare for upgrades. See how she has this falcon? These are her guides. Or you could say this is her guide. Like this is her compass. It doesn't even have to be an external thing. It can be something inside of you. Like if you don't believe in guides, even if you're like an atheist watching this, it doesn't matter, right? I like how if you look into goddesses, like dark goddesses like Hecate, Lilith, I like some people's take. Some people's take is that they're not actual goddesses that are separate from... I personally believe they are. I do personally believe they're actually real entities. They're real deities that are working with us. That's my belief. See, guys, my camera turned off. And that's a perfect example of what happens when we overgive. Even if we want to give more, the camera might just shut off, sort of a thing, right? So we got to be able to manage our energy wisely. But what I was going to say before about like the dark goddesses or any deity, like any outside deity that we worship or work with or however, I've heard people say before that it's actually just like an aspect of us. Like Hecate is just an aspect of me. It's not like an actual outside force. So you could argue that this guide that she has is just her, right? I personally believe we do actually have outside guides that communicate with us, ancestors as well. And I do believe that we can work with deities. But like I said, it's all up to interpretation, and that's the beauty of life, and that's the beauty of the Nine of Pentacles. Going back to step 2, it's okay to be independent. It's okay to have a different thought. I can have a cup of coffee with somebody who believes that Hecate is just an aspect of themselves, but I believe that Hecate is sitting next to us while we're having the conversation, l'chaim, there's room for everybody. There's beauty in independence. That's why the Nine of Pentacles is so beautiful and is so successful and is so powerful, because she's independent. It's not about being right or wrong. We can have a whole room full of Nine of Pentacles and we can all be right and we can all be wrong. And everything in between. That's humanity, right? That's the Nine of Pentacles. That's mastering yourself. This is the compass, this falcon that she has. And in the Nine of Pentacles, the mindset that gets us here to begin with is that fact that there is always room to grow. There's always higher guidance. There's always more to learn. There's always more to become. That's why she's able to, first of all, become the Nine of Pentacles to begin with. But second of all, she's actually able to become the Empress. Let me take a sip of coffee. Now I got on the Hecate coffee date. Sometimes it's simply a matter of pausing to begin to reclaim these pentacles. Just pause and see what happens. Does everything begin to fall apart? If everything begins to fall apart when you take a pause, that's when it's time to reassess. That means you're holding the whole thing up. You should be able to step away. Like let's look at it as business instead of relationships, right? Let's look at it facts on paper. She has this vineyard, right? How is she standing here with her falcon, just enjoying her day? Aren't her grapes gonna die? Well, the reason they don't die is because she has employees working in her field. So part of the Nine of Pentacles is actually understanding that dependency as well. It's back to step 3 with the understanding of the pentacles, right? When to give, when to receive. The Empress is a card, which is her higher form, the Nine of Pentacles higher form. The Empress is a card of the receiving, of the receptive, of the yin energy, of the goddess, the feminine, right? So of course, it's only natural that this Nine of Pentacles would be like a queen of swords. But in order for her to eventually have employees or eventually have her husband do the dishes, right? Then it's a matter of understanding that's what she wants to begin with. And how can she even know that that's what she wants if she doesn't know that's what she wants, if she doesn't even think about it, if she just, all she does is give, and she's like, why does nobody ever give to me? Nobody gives because you're not even giving to your own damn self. And that's the hardest lesson I've had to learn in this life. Point blank. So step 4 is about preparing for upgrades, to be actually in a place of preparation. It's kind of like those affirmations that talk about everything is always working out for me. It's like the law of assumption is step 4. It's having a belief that there is always more. Even when it's amazingly good, there's more. You're a billionaire, you can be a trillionaire. Right? Maybe it won't be in this generation. Maybe it will be your children's children that take the wealth and they multiply it long after you're dead. But it's possible. It's possible. Anything's possible. And that's what these guides like to talk about. That's what they whisper into her ear. Oh, you like this vineyard? Why not have a vacation house as well? Let's bottle this wine up and let's start another branch over in California. Right? There's always more available. And that's what the guides want us to understand, is that we can become the Empress. And even at the Empress, there's still more. There's an Emperor, for example. We don't have to be alone. But the most important thing in life, in my opinion, is to come into this state of full autonomy so that we even can have the other things. Does that make sense? I love you guys so much. It's been Missy Gordon, the Meta Mystic here.